If you're a business owner who knows that video really matters, but keeps pushing it down the to-do list, then this conversation is directed at you. Now, first of all, I want to say straight away, it's not because you necessarily are lazy, and it's not because you don't believe in the power of video, but most of the people that I tend to work with really do understand the potential of video, but they get overwhelmed by the complexity of it. I mean, they can obviously see what video is doing for other businesses in their market area, and they obviously consume video themselves on an everyday basis. And of course, you'll know that it influences how you buy, but also who you trust and which brands that you remember. So this isn't all about a belief problem. It's about an overwhelm problem. It's about a clarity problem. Now, before I go any further, if we've not met before, my name's Kevin Chapman, and I help brands and businesses just like yours get real business results, not just likes and views, but sales. And after 30 years of producing and directing everything from Formula One and BAFTA winning sports coverage to global campaigns for brands like Red Bull, LG and McDonald's. Now, over my tenure of 30 odd years, I've learned that success really is not about volume. It is about having a defined strategy. Now, what normally gets in the way is that video can often feel really heavy. It can feel much more complicated than it really should do. Now, it carries quite a lot of emotional weight, much more than people expect sometimes, because there are a lot of decisions attached to making the video and taking that first leap. Perhaps there's more pressure or more perceived risk, if you like. And when something starts to feel really complex, the brain will naturally push it away. I wouldn't say necessarily consciously, but certainly subtly, and it moves it to the back of the to-do list, if you like. So it stays on the list, but it never quite gets towards front of mind. And I see this pattern constantly. Now, when someone says, we really should be doing more video, they might have a few ideas. They might have had some conversations in the office about it internally, but then there's the questions that start to pile up about what should we say, how polished should the video feel, where should it be presented, where should it live, if you like, on our website, on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. How often do we need to post it? What kind of content do we need to create? And it's just, it becomes overwhelm. So, but one of the biggest ones as well is, what if we invest and nothing really changes? That's a question, a problem that I come across a lot. But once these questions all start to stack up without any clear answers, the momentum completely slows down and it just basically disappears. Now, most of the people that I work with aren't beginners. They run good businesses and they care deeply about how their brand is perceived on camera, if you like. They've built reputations carefully over a long time, and they don't want to put something out into the world that feels really rushed or sloppy or doesn't resonate with their audience and doesn't align with their standards or their company values. Ironically, that care is often exactly what makes the video feel so difficult to create in the first place. But once you start to care about your brand, the video stops feeling like another piece of your marketing strategy and starts to feel a bit risky. It's very public, it's very visible, it's very permanent, and of course it reflects you and your thinking and your brand, your values, your company values, your credibility. So suddenly it all starts to feel very high stakes, and then overwhelm starts to creep in, overthinking creeps in, and then paralysis. So often I find that people start worrying about how you're going to come across on camera. One of the big ones is, what are we going to say? How is our message going to resonate? What are we actually going to say on the videos? Or, am I confident enough to be in front of camera? Now, whether this reflects the quality of what you actually deliver in real life is also a big barrier, because trying to get that message across nicely is a challenge. So, but underneath all of this sits like a quiet fear of, will this actually work for us? What if we do all this work and it still doesn't move the needle? That's why video really tends to stay on the to-do list, and weeks can pass, months can pass sometimes. And the idea keeps coming back, keeps resurfacing in meetings and stuff, but it never quite gets done. And meanwhile, other businesses in your market area are doing the video, and they keep building that familiarity with their client base, the clients that you want. They're starting to own the space that you play in, and they're always front of mind in their audience. The audience is front of mind. And often they're the ones that are front of mind with the audience that you want to be associated with. Because honestly, being visible beats everything. You don't have to be the best, but you just have to be the most visible. So let's take a quick pause here. Now I've created a quick 30-second marketing assessment, if you like, that will show you exactly where you are in your current video marketing strategy. The link's below. It's only a few questions and it will give you a real-time output to where you are and what you can do next to improve your video marketing. So here's the interesting part. Very few of the challenges I've just spoken about are actually technical. They're all in your mind. Now, most people assume that they might need better cameras or better scripts, better lighting, all to create that confidence and clarity. It's just in that single word, clarity. Now, I've put together a video framework for you, and it maps out this new buying behavior that's omnipresent and how video can support it for your business. It's free in the description. Just literally click the link, enter your email, and I'll send you the landing page link so you can learn more about my video process that I use for my clients. Now, if you don't have clarity for your message, what's your video actually meant to do? Every decision feels really hard work around actually producing it. Every piece of content feels like a gamble, and your brain doesn't like gambles or open loops, if you like. It wants resolution, it wants a clear framework, it wants to know where the video is going and what it's going to achieve. So, once all these unresolved questions are sorted, you can move forward and have a clear purpose. When you know who you're speaking to and what problem you're trying to solve for them and how video supports the wider business, your decisions are simplified dramatically. They really are. So you stop trying to make every video do absolutely everything in your marketing plan. You segment it up into awareness or sales or, leads or whatever. And you stop chasing perfection. You just put out what you need to put out and make sure your message is clear. And your video becomes a system rather than a one-off performance metric. That's where it starts to become much more regular and feel a lot lighter to do. Another thing that I often see is people confusing visibility with vulnerability. Now, being on camera does feel exposing. It feels like you're putting yourself forward personally rather than just your company. But don't forget, most of you out there are personal brands, and it's really important that you turn up like that. It can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not a natural or quite private or very analytical about things. But video doesn't have to be all about your performance. It doesn't have to be loud and brash and overproduced or over polished and absolutely perfect. The good video, the successful video, is just simply giving clear communication about your message, helping people understand what it is you do and why it matters and how you can help them. Make sure that what your service or product is a good fit for them to solve their problem. So when you start to reframe video as a communication tool rather than as a performance tool, a lot of the emotional friction just disappears and it becomes a lot simpler to do. So if this kind of thinking is resonating with you, you might find my ebook really helpful. It's called Branding in Motion, and it goes over this sort of thing, this kind of overload, overwhelm. Again, you'll find it in the link, so just click that, send us your email, and I'll send you the free guide. There's also a myth, I think, that video has to be constant and relentless and really, really hard work, and I've got to become a content creator, and nothing could be further from the truth. The idea of feeding these algorithms all the time and becoming a content creator is exhausting, and it is just not necessary. In reality, what you need to do is have a plan mapped out and have it something that's achievable for your week, and then just be consistent with it. Consistency matters far more than volume. A sustainable system really does beat outbursts of activity here, there, and everywhere. So when video becomes integrated into your business, it feels a lot less pressurized. Now, one of the biggest mindset shifts is moving away from asking, how do we make great video, towards asking, how do we make a video that our customers actually need? How are we going to speak to them? And once you answer that, you forget all of the technical stuff and performance and the script. Just answer the question, is what they're looking for, is how can you help me? And that's where your real momentum will start. So it's not from forcing your content out into the world, but it's really from building a kind of calm and thoughtful system, answering your clients' questions. and also that support your business goals, to get awareness or leads or whatever it is you require out of your videos. If video's been sitting on your to-do list for a long time, it's not because I believe you don't care, it's because it feels really heavy to do. And you're exactly where most businesses start. Now, the good news is that heaviness isn't permanent. It dissolves really, really quickly. And once some clarity enters your mind and you have a strategy, this way of thinking really just disappears and it becomes a lot easier. So if this resonates with you, I'm going to keep unpacking over the next few weeks how to remove this friction, build confidence, and use video in a way that genuinely supports growth rather than draining your energy in your company. So if you'd like to learn more about how I help businesses, please click the subscribe button and join my channel. And I'll be regularly putting out content to help you understand and break down the barriers to creating really successful video marketing for your company to create awareness, leads, and sales.